without wasting much time, let's get down to business. People will catch up with us as they come. Now, the Rise Above It series is focused on the mental health at the workplace, organizations, people, staff, and everyone that works in the organizations. Because at Trail Consulting, we felt that it was time for us to bring this conversation to everyone who is in the workspace, from HR practitioners to CEOs to CEOs to human and capital development. Realize that the workplace is in dire need of these conversations. People no longer go on leave, especially since the advent of work from home. People are expected to spend their entire time working from the computer. And so we thought about it that, look, let's have this conversation. Let's use the opportunity to have this conversation. How do people live better lives? And it's a hope that organizations will look at this and begin to pay attention to the mental health of their employees. So to begin, you are a psychotherapist, you are an HR professional, so you are mingling these two together, so you have a wider perspective and understanding of this, how do I put it now, this phase or this conversation, as it were. Now, I get this question a lot of times, and I want to throw it to you. How do I navigate my first day at work, especially being someone who isn't much of an extrovert? I mean, yeah, people say I'm an introvert. How do I navigate my first day at work? It can be very challenging. You are getting into a new environment. You probably didn't know anyone before now. How do I navigate through that phase?
Okay, thank you for that question. That's a very interesting question. And I'm going to answer it both from the perspective of the HR professional and as well from the perspective of someone who is very, very conversant with human behavior as well. Okay, so the first thing to do is not to put yourself under a lot of pressure, right, on your first day at work. All right, assuming to be a journey, and today is the first step, right? That way, you are able not to overwhelm yourself. So typically, your first day at work is for you to get to familiarize yourself with the environment, right? And then get to observe. So you're going to do a lot of observation on your first day, right? Now, so depending on the kind of organization you are entering into, also, and now I'm going to as well shift the responsibility on both sides. So as an organization, right, people are beginning to choose jobs based on organizational culture and not necessarily. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so people are beginning to choose jobs, right, not necessarily based on the financial remuneration or the financial benefits of the job, but people are beginning to choose jobs based on the organizational culture. What is the vibe? What is the energy? What is the reception? What is the atmosphere that I get? Even to potential employees begin to make these decisions even from the point of interview, right? When they come in for the interview, they observe how the receptionist talks to them. Even when they have telephone conversations with the recruitment manager, they get a cue of how the organizational culture is, right? Now, so for that, I think that organizations should also begin to focus on how to build an enabling culture in such a way that when an employee is coming to an organization for the first time, the people whom this particular employee will meet gives that employee the impression that this organization is a great place to work. And what are the metrics, right, that you use to measure if an organization is a great place to work, right? It's in the relationships and the human relations that you have, the way the tasks are structured, the clarity that you receive on your first day. So you resume on your first day, you have clear expectations of what your deliverables will be. You have friendly and soft conversations, and everybody in the organization before you arrive are aware that you are new here. And so they are advised and they are coached to warm up to you in the kitchen, in the restroom, on the walkway. They say, hi, oh, Francis, how would you feel? For example, if you're new to an organization and immediately you get to the lobby, the receptionist says, oh, hi, Francis, you're welcome. We're excited to have you at this organization on the first day. You feel relaxed because you feel like, oh, wow, I never expected that this person knows my name. And then maybe you run into someone else and the person says, oh, Francis, hi, you're the new guy, right? From Human Resources. Oh, you're welcome. We love you. This is an organization. Feel free, And they just engage you in some very light softeners. And by the time you get to maybe even your desk, there is some sort of a welcome card, no matter how little it is, saying, hi, Francis, welcome to the department, we love you, right? It gives you a soft landing. Do you understand? It helps you relax. Because one of the things that trigger people's anxiety whenever they are in a new space is uncertainty. Not being aware of whatever eventually they're going to experience getting into this place. But when you're able to give them that soft environment, they have an idea that, you know what, oh, okay, this place is not bad after all, right? I can relate to people. I have goodwill here. And then it reduces the level of tension that people will feel. Now, when you talk about introverts and extroverts, I always like to say that, we are made through three things in our various lives, right? Our experiences, our upbringing, and significant emotional experiences, our upbringing, and our environment. To a large extent, these three channels form how we become either introverts or extroverts, as it were, right? So I would say that every one of us, we are hybrids, and we can demonstrate different forms of temperament at different times. You don't necessarily need to be an extreme extrovert. You don't necessarily need to be an extreme introvert. You just need to be a flexible human being who can, at different times, you understand, relate to people. So if you're not so much of an extrovert, one of the ways you can do this is when you get into your office. Now, if you're not fortunate to get this kind of ideal office that I just described, right? One of the things you want to do is get into the space, observe, right? First, no pressure. Observe, most importantly, your direct colleague or your direct supervisor or your direct report, right? Now, this gives you an entrance into what exactly you are in for. So when you enter on your first day, keep a positive outlook, right? We say that what you focus on expands. Keep a positive outlook. When you get to your desk on your first day, engage your colleagues. Okay, hi, what is it like working here? I'm new here, and I just want to know what is it like at all, right? Then the conversation takes off from there. Then you go to the restroom, say hi. Now, when you say hi to someone or by the corridor, and then maybe the person doesn't return your hi or gives you a straight face, okay, you know what? Say, oh, okay, cool. Maybe this person is not eventually out to be all chatty with me and all. But there will definitely be people in the organizations who will warm up to you in the kitchen. So typically your first day is for you to get to familiarize yourself with the environment, know where the exits are. Don't be under pressure to be all chatty and all gisty with everybody. As it progresses, as you progress within the organization, you will build relationships, you will build influence, and then you will get to know people more. So that's my take on your first day in an organization, typically.
Oh, that's very apt. One thing that I picked from what you said is, first of all, how people are welcomed into the organization plays a great role as to the first feeling that they have. And then secondly, you make a deliberate attempt to interact. And even though you're not rushing yourself, you can take it one step at a time, but you just need to pick 1-2 people and begin your relationship from there. That's very apt. Now, this leads me to the next question. And I'm bringing this question because I mean I've managed teams and I still work with people who experience this thing. So I experience panic attacks, yet my job requires that I make presentations often. How do I manage this? I mean, you have some roles that require that you make presentations, yet I have this panic attack when I have to face the crowd. I mean, this is beyond stage fright. By default, I've been diagnosed. I have panic attacks, but my work requires that I face people. This gets me anxious. This puts me on the edge. How do I manage this situation?
Fantastic. Thank you for that question. So, one of the things I'm going to tell anybody listening who is eventually facing something like that is, for every one of us, even the best of speakers, we have that 3 seconds, 5 seconds. You know, I would say that I'm looking for a word, that unsettledness just before you go on. You know,
Stuff like
yeah, so we all have it. It's at the point where we enter into the mode and we start blasting. You feel like, this guy came in blasting and all, right? So here's what you need to do. First, we need to also have a background of what a panic attack essentially means. So now, a panic attack, when you look at the definition of what a panic attack means, and I'm going to be as literal as possible, not to use a lot of psychological terms and all of that, but in a very simple form. A panic attack is the state where the person, where you are as an individual, and your mind perceives danger. Now, emphasis on the word perceive danger. There might be real or unreal. That particular phase where your mind has anticipation for danger. And the way the human mind and the human body is structured is such a way that there's something called your fight or your flight mode, right? So when your body perceives danger, your brain goes into lockdown.